In a quiet control room. In a quiet control room on Earth, a signal is dying. A thin carrier tone, barely louder than the background hiss of the universe, slides across a screen. It is coming from a world 1.5 billion kilometers away. At the consoles, engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory lean closer. They've spent 2 decades guiding this tiny machine, and now they're watching it vanish. Cassini has reached Saturn's atmosphere. It is falling. As plasma builds around its body, data streams race home. Measurements of pressure, chemistry, heat, its last breath of science. Then, one final blip. The line flattens, and silence fills the room. That was the end of Cassini's 20-year journey. But to understand why it had to die, we must begin where its story started, with a dream of reaching Saturn. In the late 1980s, a small team at NASA and the European Space Agency imagined a mission unlike any before. Not just a quick flyby, but a long-term explorer, one that would orbit Saturn for years and send a probe down through the haze of Titan. They called it Cassini-Huygens, 2 spacecraft in one. Cassini, the orbiter named for Giovanni Cassini, who first mapped Saturn's moons and rings in the 1600s, and Huygens for Christian Huygens, who discovered Titan. Across oceans, engineers in America, Europe, and Italy built it piece by piece. Titanium fuel tanks, golden thermal blankets, a dish antenna wide enough to double as a shield against the sun. Because sunlight out there, 9 times dimmer than on Earth, would never power solar panels. Cassini would live on plutonium heat, 3 RTGs humming with electricity. By 1997, it stood ready on a Titan IV rocket at Cape Canaveral. $8 billion of precision and hope, aimed at a single target: Saturn. October 15th, 1997. Engines ignite. The rocket claws through the Florida sky. Cassini leaves Earth behind, trailing a long ribbon of flame. It will not see home again. 7 years of travel lie ahead. To reach Saturn, it must steal energy from other worlds. 2 swings past Venus, 1 past Earth, and finally, a slingshot by Jupiter, each flyby bending its path, flinging it faster toward the outer darkness. Inside mission control, long after launch coverage ends, only a handful of operators watch the telemetry. Voltage checks, thruster firings, tiny course corrections timed to seconds. Cassini becomes a silent habit in their lives, a pulse from deep space, steady and patient. July 1st, 2004. After 7 years, Saturn fills Cassini's cameras, a giant banded world wrapped in gold and shadow. To stay, it must perform one perfect maneuver, a Saturn orbit insertion burn lasting 96 minutes. If the main engine fires too long, Cassini will crash into Saturn. Too short, and it will fly forever into interstellar space. In Pasadena, the control room holds its breath. For an hour and a half, no one can intervene. The signal takes 84 minutes to cross the void. When the first light returns, numbers scroll down a monitor. Velocity dropping, altitude stable. Cheers erupt. Cassini is captured. Humanity now orbits Saturn. 6 months later, Cassini releases a small probe, Huygens. Its target, Titan, Saturn's largest moon, a world with seas of methane and clouds of organic smog. On January 14th, 2005, Huygens plunges into Titan's orange atmosphere, Parachutes bloom. Instruments hum. For 2 hours, it drifts downward through layers of mist. Cassini listens, recording the signals to relay home. When Huygens lands, it touches the pebbled surface of another world, the farthest landing any human machine has ever made. It sends a panorama, rounded stones, an alien shoreline, a place where it rains liquid methane. In the control room, the data arrives hours later. Some cry, some just stare. For the first time, we've seen the surface of Titan. While Titan kept the world's attention, Cassini noticed something strange on a smaller moon, Enceladus, a bright dot of ice, only 500 kilometers wide. During a close pass, its magnetometer twitched. Then the cameras caught it. Geysers spraying from the South Pole into space. Cassini flew through the plumes again and again. Its instruments tasted the vapor, water mixed with salts, ammonia, and complex organic molecules. Below Enceladus's frozen crust, there was an ocean, liquid, global, and warm enough for chemistry that resembles life. Every pass forced new questions. Could something swim beneath that ice? Could Saturn's tiny moon be one of the best places to look for life beyond Earth? Cassini couldn't answer, but it gave us the map to find out. For 13 years, Cassini circled Saturn. It watched storms larger than Earth unravel across the planet's belts. It mapped rings as thin as paper, made of ice shards, dancing in magnetic fields. It revealed Titan's polar seas, vast lakes of liquid methane and ethane shining under the pale sun. Every orbit, new wonders. Every orbit, new data. Hundreds of gigabytes of images, spectra, and signals. And back on Earth, thousands of people kept vigil. Flight controllers, engineers, scientists, each console labeled power, propulsion, guidance, communications. They built weekly command sequences, uplinked through the deep space network, and waited for Cassini's faint reply 9 hours later. It became more than a spacecraft. It was a companion in orbit, an extension of human curiosity. By 2017, Cassini was running low on fuel. Its orbit, if left alone, might one day crash into Enceladus or Titan, risking contamination of their pristine oceans. NASA decided on a final act, the grand finale. Cassini would dive between Saturn and its rings through a gap only a few thousand kilometers wide, 22 times. No probe had ever dared it. Each dive skimmed closer to the planet's clouds, sending back measurements of the ring's mass, the atmosphere's density, the planet's magnetic heartbeat. Then, on September 15th, 2017, the final descent began. Cassini pointed its antenna at Earth and kept its instruments running. As it entered the atmosphere, thrusters fought to stay locked on target. Telemetry flowed, temperature rising, speed climbing, then static. The signal ended at 4:55 a.m. Pacific time. Cassini had melted into the sky of Saturn. In mission control, the room stayed still. Some whispered goodbye. Others simply listened to the silence that followed. Dash, dash, dash. In 20 years, Cassini transformed Saturn from a distant dot into a living system. Worlds within worlds. It revealed Titan's methane seas, Enceladus's hidden ocean, and a planet whose rings are younger and more dynamic than we ever imagined. Its discoveries redefined what habitable can mean. They inspired new missions, to return to Titan, to drill through Enceladus's plumes, to search for life in liquid hidden beneath ice. Cassini ended, but its data still speaks. Every image, every spectrum, every whisper of radio from Saturn's skies continues to teach us. And somewhere in those ones and zeros, sent across 1 billion kilometers, is a record of our own reflection, that we, fragile beings from a blue world, built a machine that could dream among the rings of another.